Here we are, and we're into chapter 2 of John's Gospel, and we're going to look at the wedding at Cana, one of the most well-known incidents in Jesus' life. So let's read. We'll do verses 1 to 11. Let's just read all of it first of all. On the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what does that have to do with me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now there were 6 stone water jars there, for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it out. When the master of the feast tasted the water, which had now become wine, and did not know where it came from, though the servants who drew the water knew, the master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when people have drunk freely, then they serve the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So, as I say, it's a very well-known incident in Jesus' life, and I was reading there from the ESV version. It's rather strange. I mean, John, I think he just a small number of, I think it's 7 miracles. Whereas the Synoptic Gospels give quite a few. And he's chosen them carefully. And he's chosen this wedding, changing water into wine. It seemed, in some ways you could say it was trivial. But obviously John had a good reason for doing this. One of the things it does is demonstrate the authenticity of the Gospels. It's just a small sign of the authenticity. Because if you were making things up, you wouldn't put this in there. But anyway, this is what we have. And in those days, weddings went on for several days. Guest lists were far less formal than we have now. Nowadays, you can't just turn up to a wedding without being invited. They were far less formal. Jesus was there with his disciples, and his mother was there as well. So, what can we learn about it? I mean, if we look at verses 3 and 4, it says, "And when the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, 'They have no wine.' And he said to her, 'Woman.'" First of all, when Jesus says "woman," to us it sounds a bit abrupt. It wasn't. It wasn't an insulting way of referring to his mother. But here we have Jesus getting involved in something which in some ways is trivial. In the grand scheme of things, is trivial. Obviously, at the actual wedding, particularly if you've been your own wedding or you've arranged a wedding for your one of your children, they're very important. But in the eternal significance, it's not that important, if you're honest. But Jesus gets involved in all sorts of aspects of our lives. Sometimes people make disparaging comments about praying for a parking space. Now, I have no problems whatsoever with praying for a parking space. I've done it a number of times, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if that's the limit of your ambitions in prayer, praying for parking spaces, then you have a problem. You should be praying for much bigger and important things than parking spaces. But God does get involved and cares about the little aspects of life. And when Mary tells Jesus there's no wine, and Jesus says, "My hour has not yet come." In John's Gospel, "my hour" or "the hour" is a very important phrase. And in particular, the Pharisees, the Jewish religious leaders, were not able to get hold of Jesus until his hour had come. And Jesus having said that, Mary then says, his mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now Mary, remember, we know about Mary, she'd been visited by the angel Gabriel. She knew that it was a virginal conception. And she had received various words about Jesus from Simeon and Anna. She knew there was something very special about Jesus. And maybe those words of Jesus reminded her of that. So she then just focuses on that. Says, just do whatever he tells you. And in like Jesus said, why do you worry about what you'll eat or what you will wear? Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and these things will be added unto you. They'll be taken care of. In our life, sometimes we just need to focus on Jesus. Need to focus on what he has called us to do, and then many of the sort of little things in life, we'll find they actually get sorted out. Anyway, the servants are told to add the water to fill the jars up with water. And you think, well, was that strictly necessary? Just trust God and do as we're told. We don't need to be able to work out how everything's going to happen. We need to trust God and do as we're told. And it, as we know, it then produced the best wine. And there were one or two people make it wasn't alcoholic wine. That, frankly, is a load of nonsense. The wine in the Bible is alcoholic. It probably wasn't as strong as the wine that we tend to get now, but it was alcoholic. And some people get very uptight about drinking alcohol or not drinking alcohol. There are two things that the Bible's clear about. One is that drinking to excess is wrong, full stop. Getting drunk is wrong, don't do it. But equally, drinking wine in moderation is fine. There's no problem with it. Now, it might be that for a particular person, they decide either just don't want to drink alcohol, and that's fine, or that they're not going to because maybe they've had problems with alcohol in the past. Or a church, maybe as a whole, may decide, right, we are not going to drink wine because alcohol is perhaps causing such enormous problems in the community. It's okay to do that as long as you recognise it's a pragmatic decision. There is no law against drinking alcohol in moderation. You just need to have a sensible and biblical attitude towards this. Then at the end, it says in verse 11, where are we? Right. This was the first of his signs Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. So how did he demonstrate his glory in this? His glory includes it's very rough rule of thumb from the sun. What glory means is it includes significance and splendour. Obviously, you probably write whole tomes on the subject of glory, but we'll stick with that. This demonstrated, first of all, Jesus' power over nature, which we'll see on numerous occasions, and dealing with ordinary things, and his transformational power. Then it says his disciples believed in him. Now, actually, in John's Gospel, we need to be very careful when it says someone believed in Jesus. It is used in various ways in John's Gospel. Sometimes it's very clear that this belief was skin deep. It really didn't go anywhere. It's very shallow. Other times it's a much more significant belief. Might call it a saving faith. But anyway, we're going on quite a bit with this one, so we'd better stop there, and that's the wedding at Cana over with. I hope you enjoyed the wedding.